Hi there, Angela here at Sew Bright Alpine Quilting. Thanks for joining me in the classroom today. Today we are going to make a scrunchie. What is a scrunchie, you might ask? Well, it's a beautiful piece of fabric that we've fashioned into an elastic headband that we can tie up our hair with. Some of the older ladies might know that these were around quite a few years ago, but they're making a resurgence. We're very happy that they have. So I'm going to show you how we make one really simply and easily. We've put together some great little kits with some different fabrics, and in that kit you'll get 5 pieces of fabric that's already cut to the size that you need, 5 pieces of elastic already cut to the size that you need, and some step-by-step colour photo instructions. So I'll take you through what we're going to be using today. So we've got a piece of fabric here, this beautiful butterfly batik fabric. We've got our elastic, a little pair of scissors, and a chopstick that we're going to use to help us turn, and we've got a few pins and our sewing machine, and we have a 1/4 inch foot on our sewing machine. We've got it threaded up with some I've got coordinating thread in today so that you can see what I'm sewing, but normally I would use matching thread, and we may also use our top stitching foot as well. So let's get started. So we're going to take our fabric and we're going to have it wrong side facing up. We're just going to fold the ends together and make a little crease to find the center, and then we're going to pin that piece of elastic just above the center line. We're going to stitch that one in place. So make sure you take the pin out before you start sewing, because we don't want to sew over the pin. So just zigzag over it a couple of times, or sorry, straight stitch backwards and forwards over the top, just to hold it in place. And then we're going to scrunch up the fabric underneath, and we're going to do the same up the other end. So fold it in half, pop it on, and just sew backwards and forwards over the end, just to keep it in place while we're making the other seam. So now we can come with our fabric and we can turn it right sides together, and we're going to pin along the length of this, and we're going to leave a gap about 5 centimeters each end. So we pop in a couple of pins just to help us hold it in place. So this technique is a great one for younger children as well, because it's really simple. And then we're just going to gauge about 5 centimeters off the end there. And then we're going to sew this seam with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, starting at our 5 centimeter mark, and then we're going to reverse at the start and the end of each seam, just to hold it in place. Got a bit of a wobble. Don't forget to take the pins out as you get to them. And keep your elastic out of the way. And then just reverse at that end. Trim off our threads. And now we are going to turn it in through the right way. So if you start yourself off with your finger, and then you can put the chopstick down and give it a pull, and just keep pulling until you get it to come all the way through. A little bit fiddly. Chopstick's out the end so we can take the chopstick out. So now we have the elastic on the inside. So we're just going to find our ends like so, and we're going to stretch it out to make sure that we haven't got it too twisted, and then we're going to sew these two ends together just pull them out a little bit. So we've got one end there and our other end here. Put a couple of pins in there to help us keep it together. Because of the elastic, it's going to make it a little bit tricky. So we grab our elastic bits there and pop a pin in. And then find the ends. And pop another pin in. And now we can sew that 1/4 inch seam. Now you just have to be very careful when you sew over the elastic, so just go a little bit slowly. And we're going to reverse at the start and the end of each of the seam again, just so that we make sure it doesn't start coming undone. Remove the pin before you get to it. Gently over the elastic. You might have to give it a little push, because sometimes, because of the elastic, it might the foot might get a little bit uneven. Now reverse, and we're going to take that out of there. Clip off our threads to keep tidy. Now all we have to do is sew in the rest of this gap here. So with your fingers, just give it a little press towards the inside, just that 1/4 inch seam up to the end of that seam. And the same with that one, just give it a little finger press and turn it over and do the same on the other side. Little press, and then you can bring those two folded edges together. So if you line up your little seam, I'm going to pop some pins in again to help us keep everything together. So another pin just at the end where you need to begin sewing, and then turn this one around and pop another pin in the end there. And then we're going to top stitch this closed. You can of course hand stitch it if you wish. And as I said, normally you would be using a matching thread. So we're going to pop this down. We can actually make our stitch a little bit longer because we're top stitching. Take out our pins as we go. Carefully over the intersection there. And around we go to the end of the opening, and just do a little reverse. So because I'm using a contrasting thread, what I'll do later is I will stitch all the way around that folded edge, just to make it look like that the top stitching is meant to be. But as I said, if you're using a matching thread, you wouldn't even notice that there. And then you've got your little scrunchie. You can roll it up, pop it in your hair, and you're done. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. If you want a kit, you can see them on our website. As I said, we've got 5 different ones at the moment, or you can give us a call and we can put together a kit in your favourite colours. Thanks again. Bye-bye.